The morning watch aboard Outpost Theta 9 began like any other. Dr. Sarah Chen adjusted her holographic displays, monitoring the unusual radiation patterns from a nearby pulsar. Her team of astrophysicists had been tracking the phenomenon for weeks, hoping to understand why the star's emissions defied known physics models. Another anomaly in Sector 7. Tom Rodriguez called out from his engineering station. The young engineer's fingers danced across his haptic interface, bringing up detailed scans. The quantum fluctuations are increasing exponentially. Sarah frowned at the readings. She had seen similar patterns only once before, during a supernova observation 3 years ago. But this was different, more structured, almost artificial in its precision. "Run a full spectrum analysis," she ordered, her voice steady despite the growing unease in her stomach. The massive observation dome of Theta 9 offered a panoramic view of space, its transparent quantum crystalline surface providing perfect clarity. The station rotated slowly, housing 15,000 of humanity's brightest minds and their families. It was humanity's proudest achievement. A deep space research facility dedicated to unraveling the universe's mysteries. Dr. Chen, Lisa Wang, the quantum sensor specialist, called out with urgency in her voice. Something's emerging from the anomaly. The space before them began to ripple like disturbed water. Geometric shapes crystallized into existence, perfect dodecahedrons that gleamed with internal light. They moved with impossible grace, their crystalline surfaces refracting starlight in ways that hurt the human eye to observe. "Beginning emergency broadcast to Earth," Tom announced, activating the station's quantum entanglement communicator. The direct feed would transmit every detail back to mission control, regardless of what happened next. All sensors recording at maximum resolution. Sarah felt her scientific training take over as she cataloged every detail. The entities appear to be composed of crystalline structures unlike any known material. Their movement suggests artificial construction rather than natural formation, attempting to initiate first contact protocols. The standard greeting package, a compilation of mathematical sequences, basic scientific principles, and cultural information, launched from Theta 9's communication array. The crystalline entities seemed to pause, their surfaces flickering with internal lights. "They're responding," Lisa exclaimed, her eyes wide as new data flooded her screens. "But these energy readings, they're off the charts." Tom's voice cut through the excitement, sharp with alarm. "Doctor, their energy signature is shifting. It's similar to a weapon's charging cycle." Sarah's fingers flew across her console, trying to raise defensive shields, but she already knew it would be too late. The entities had positioned themselves in a perfect geometric pattern around the station. Light began to pool between them, forming connections that resembled a complex web. "Emergency protocols enacted," the station's AI announced calmly. "All personnel proceed to emergency shelters." This is not a drill. But there was nowhere to run. The entities released their energy in a synchronized burst that shattered the laws of physics. Space itself seemed to twist around Theta 9 as cosmic forces beyond human understanding were brought to bear against the station. Tom Rodriguez, still at his post, continued broadcasting. "Final transmission from Outpost Theta 9. The entities appear capable of manipulating fundamental forces. Our shields have no effect. To whoever receives this, remember us, learn from this, and ensure humanity survives." The last image transmitted to Earth showed Sarah Chen standing at her station, dignity intact, making final notes even as the station began to break apart. Her voice, clear and professional, spoke her final words. "Humanity must understand what we witnessed here. The universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it is stranger than we can imagine." The destruction, when it came, was both beautiful and terrible. Theta 9 didn't simply explode, it unraveled, its very atoms pulled apart by forces that defied comprehension. 15,000 lives ended in a burst of light that briefly outshone the nearby stars. On Earth, billions watched in stunned silence as humanity's greatest outpost vanished. The feed cut to static, but not before transmitting every scrap of data about the attack and its perpetrators. In control rooms and command centers across the planet, the first shock was already giving way to determination. Humanity had just received its first lesson about its place in the cosmos. The response would reshape the galaxy itself. Chief Engineer Maya Patel stood in the heart of the Brisbane shipyards, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing her revolutionary ship design. The massive construction facility, once used for building luxury space cruisers, had transformed overnight into humanity's first response to the Theta 9 incident. "The quantum assembly matrix is ready," her assistant James Cooper announced, monitoring the complex network of 3D printing arrays that stretched for kilometers across the Australian outback. The new nanoforges are operating at 120% of projected capacity. Maya nodded, watching as the first hull segments materialized in the construction bay. Her design combined traditional metalwork with quantum-locked materials, creating ships that could be assembled in days rather than months. "Begin the full production sequence," she ordered, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's future. Across the globe, similar scenes played out as nations redirected their entire industrial might toward the war effort. The Chinese space elevator, once a symbol of economic power, now transported a constant stream of raw materials from the asteroid mining operations. Russian quantum foundries worked tirelessly, producing the advanced AI cores that would coordinate the massive fleet. Lai Wei, a brilliant programmer from Shanghai, worked without rest in her small office overlooking the East China Sea. Her fingers flew across holographic keyboards as she refined the fleet's tactical AI. "The system needs to think like us," she murmured, implementing algorithms that captured human intuition and creativity rather than mere computational power. In lunar orbit, the dark side of the moon transformed into a massive shipyard. Construction drones swarmed like metallic insects, assembling vessels of war with perfect precision. The site of their work was visible from Earth, a constant reminder of humanity's purpose. "Production efficiency has increased by 40%, James reported, examining the latest data streams. "The new automated assembly lines are exceeding all expectations. At this rate, we'll complete the first 100,000 ships ahead of schedule." Maya walked through the construction bay, watching as massive hull plates were quantum-fused into place. Each ship represented a perfect blend of human ingenuity and advanced technology. The vessels weren't just weapons of war. They were masterpieces of engineering, designed to protect humanity from forces beyond their understanding. Former rivals shared their technological secrets without hesitation. Japanese shield harmonics merged with Indian propulsion systems. Brazilian targeting computers complemented European power distribution networks. Every nation contributed their best innovations, creating vessels unlike anything humanity had previously conceived. "The quantum core installation is complete on the first batch," a technician announced. The ship's hearts pulsed with contained energy, ready to power systems that pushed the boundaries of known physics. Maya had designed them to be adaptable, capable of incorporating new technologies as they were discovered. In orbit, the first completed vessel underwent its space trials. The ship, christened Phoenix Rising, represented humanity's new direction. Its sleek lines concealed weapon systems powerful enough to challenge the laws of physics, while its quantum shields were designed to withstand forces that had destroyed Theta 9. Lai Wei's AI system, nicknamed Prometheus, coordinated the global production effort with unprecedented efficiency. It matched production capabilities with resource availability, ensuring no facility stood idle and no material went to waste. The program became the backbone of humanity's industrial renaissance. "Final systems check on production line 7, James called out. Maya watched as another vessel took shape, its hull gleaming under the Australian sun. Each ship carried the hopes of humanity, along with improvements based on data from the previous constructions. The Brisbane shipyards worked around the clock, its quantum forges casting shadows that stretched across the continent. Similar facilities across the planet maintained the same relentless pace, driven by a shared purpose that transcended national boundaries. Maya touched the cool metal of the nearest hull, feeling the slight vibration of contained power. These ships would carry humanity's response to the stars, each one a testament to what humans could achieve when united by a common cause. "Begin the next production cycle," she ordered, her voice firm with determination. The quantum assemblers hummed to life, ready to forge another vessel in humanity's growing armada. The stars had challenged humanity's right to exist among them. The response would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. Dr. James Cumullo's laboratory in Cape Town buzzed with intense concentration as his team analyzed the final moments of Theta 9. The holographic display showed the attack sequence frame by frame, each millisecond revealing new details about the mysterious entities that had changed humanity's destiny. "Look at this energy pattern," he said, gesturing to a particular sequence that showed the crystalline being's power signature. "There's a distinct oscillation in their quantum field just before the attack." His fingers traced the waveform that had become his obsession over the past weeks. Sarah Chen's final data transmission proved invaluable. The young physicist had managed to capture detailed readings of the entity's energy manipulation, even as the station crumbled around her. "Run simulation sequence 47 again," James ordered, his eyes never leaving the display. Across the room, Dr. Ana Santos from Sao Paulo University adjusted the parameters of their experimental quantum shield generator. Her team had been working in parallel with James, turning his theoretical breakthroughs into practical defense systems. "The frequency matching is almost perfect," Ana announced, examining the results of their latest test. The shield they had developed could theoretically replicate and counter the exact energy signature used in the Theta 9 attack. "We're achieving 98% energy absorption in controlled tests." The breakthrough had come from an unexpected source. James had noticed that the crystalline being's own structure provided a clue to their power manipulation. By creating quantum shields that mimicked their crystalline lattice patterns, humanity could not only defend against their attacks, but potentially redirect their energy. Initiating full-scale shield test, one of Anna's assistants called out. The laboratory's test chamber hummed as energy levels rose to match those recorded during the attack. The experimental shield flickered into existence, its surface displaying the same intricate patterns observed in the alien crystals. James watched the readings with intense focus. Each test brought them closer to understanding the fundamental forces the entities had wielded with such devastating effect. "Energy output stable at 40% of projected attack strength," he noted, making rapid adjustments to the shield's quantum matrix. In her corner of the lab, Anna's new propulsion system prototype pulsed with contained power. Her design incorporated the same principles they had learned from studying the entity's movement through space. The result was an engine capable of speeds that would have seemed impossible just months ago. "Shield integrity holding at maximum," the test supervisor reported as the energy levels continued to climb. 70%, 80%, 90% of projected attack strength. The chamber filled with a brilliant light that matched the recordings from Theta 9. James held his breath as the readings approached 100%. This was the threshold where all previous tests had failed, the point where the overwhelming force had torn Theta 9 apart. The shield shimmered, its quantum matrix straining against the onslaught. "Full power achieved." Anna's voice carried across the lab, triumph evident in her tone. The shield not only held but began to redirect the energy, creating a feedback loop that strengthened its own integrity. They had done it. The implications were enormous. With this technology, the massive fleet under construction would have a fighting chance against the crystalline entities. James immediately began transmitting the shield specifications to production facilities worldwide. "Begin integration testing with the propulsion system," Anna ordered, her team already moving to combine their two breakthroughs. The new engines would give human ships unprecedented maneuverability, while the shields would keep them safe during faster-than-light travel. As the test results confirmed their success, James thought about Sarah Chen and the other 15,000 souls lost on Theta 9. Their sacrifice had provided the data that made these advances possible. Their deaths would not be in vain. "Prepare the final report for Fleet Command," he instructed his team. The first 100,000 ships would need to be retrofitted with the new technology immediately. Time was of the essence, as somewhere in the vastness of space, the crystalline beings continued their existence, unaware of the response heading their way. The lab hummed with renewed purpose as the teams began the implementation phase. Humanity had taken another step forward, turning theory into technology that would help ensure their survival among the stars. Admiral Yuki Tanaka stood on the bridge of the flagship Unity's Dawn, watching as the largest fleet in human history prepared for departure. The massive view screen showed ships stretching into the distance, their hulls gleaming under the light of Earth's sun. "All battle groups report ready for quantum sync," her executive officer, Commander David Martinez, announced. The revolutionary command structure they had developed grouped vessels from different nations into integrated units, ensuring no single country's ships fought alone. The fleet's organization reflected humanity's new unity. Chinese destroyers flew alongside American cruisers. Russian battleships protected Indian carriers. Brazilian scout ships led Japanese strike groups. Each battle group represented the combined strength of Earth's nations. "Begin synchronized drive activation," Yuki ordered, her voice calm despite the historic magnitude of the moment. Across the fleet, quantum engines hummed to life, their revolutionary design allowing for coordinated faster-than-light travel. The sight of 600,000 ships powering up simultaneously painted rivers of light across space. Commander Sarah Lee, coordinating from the Lunar Command Center, reported through the quantum comm. Supply chain networks are established and operational. Civilian support vessels have confirmed their positions along the route. The support structure, dubbed Humanity's Bridge, would stretch across light years, ensuring the fleet remained supplied during its long journey. The first wave of ships began their departure, their quantum drives creating a spectacular display visible from Earth. Formations of vessels moved with precision, their movements choreographed by advanced AI systems that maintained perfect spacing even at incredible speeds. "Battle Group Orion, you have the lead," Yuki transmitted to the advance force. The screening elements would probe ahead, using the new sensor technology developed from studying the Theta-9 data. Their mission was to detect any sign of the crystalline entities long before they reached the main fleet. In her command chair, Yuki reviewed the tactical displays showing the fleet's organization. Each ship carried the new quantum shields, their systems synchronized to create overlapping fields of protection. The formation itself was a work of art, designed to maximize both offensive capability and defensive coverage. "Second wave. Commence launch sequence," Commander Martinez ordered. Another 100,000 ships broke from Earth orbit, their drives igniting in perfect sequence. The coordination required for such a massive movement had never been attempted before in human history. The civilian supply ships, crewed by volunteers from every nation, moved into their support positions. These brave crews would maintain the lifeline that kept the fleet operational, risking their lives to ensure humanity's defenders remained strong far from home. All fleet elements maintaining nominal status, the AI tactical coordinator reported. The system, based on Lightway's groundbreaking work, managed the countless variables involved in moving such a massive force through space. It adapted in real time, adjusting formations and travel patterns to maintain optimal efficiency. Yuki watched as the last wave of ships prepared for departure. Each vessel represented countless hours of labor, the combined technological achievements of humanity, and the hopes of billions. The fleet carried humanity's response to the stars, but it also carried their determination to prove they belonged among them. "Final wave, you are cleared for departure," she announced. The remaining ships lifted from their orbital positions, their drives adding to the brilliant display. From Earth, the fleet's departure created a spectacle that would be remembered for generations, a river of light flowing into the depths of space. Commander Lee's voice came through again. "Admiral, all fleet elements are away. Humanity's bridge is fully operational. We are tracking you to the edge of the solar system." The success of this initial movement was crucial. It proved that such a massive force could operate as a single unit. As Unity's Dawn prepared to make its own jump to faster-than-light speed, Yuki thought about the responsibility she carried. This fleet represented not just humanity's military might, but their unity, their technology, and their unwavering spirit. "Set course for the Orion Arm," she ordered, her voice steady. "Take us to where it began." The flagship's quantum drive engaged, and Earth's solar system fell away behind them. The journey to meet humanity's first cosmic challenge had begun. The stellar nursery where Battle Group Orion first detected the crystalline beings shimmered with newborn stars. Clouds of glowing gas painted the void in brilliant colors, creating a backdrop of cosmic beauty for humanity's first true interstellar confrontation. Multiple contacts detected. Lieutenant Emma Rodriguez reported from her sensor station aboard Unity's Dawn. Energy signatures matched Theta-9 recordings perfectly. The crystalline entities moved through space with their characteristic grace, their geometric forms refracting starlight in impossible ways. Admiral Tanaka studied the tactical display as more of the beings emerged from the cosmic dust. Their numbers were surprisingly small, barely 300 compared to humanity's vast armada. "Begin wide-spectrum scanning," she ordered. "Record everything." The entities, which they would soon learn called themselves the Lumini, arranged themselves in a complex three-dimensional pattern. Their surfaces pulsed with internal light, creating patterns that the ship's computers identified as a form of communication. "They're broadcasting," Communications Officer Chen announced, his algorithms decoding the light patterns. "Converting to audio now." The bridge speakers crackled with a voice that sounded like crystalline chimes translated into speech. "Temporary beings," the voice resonated through the command center. "You have entered space beyond your understanding. Return to your world until you achieve proper evolution." The dismissal in the tone was clear, even through the translation. Yuki smiled slightly, remembering the 15,000 souls lost at Theta-9. "This is Admiral Yuki Tanaka of the United Earth Fleet. We have achieved more than you realize. Allow me to demonstrate." She nodded to her tactical officer. A single ship from the fleet moved forward, its new quantum shields visible as a subtle distortion around its hull. The nearest Lumini entity released a burst of energy, the same type that had destroyed Theta-9. The beam struck the shield and scattered. Its power absorbed and redirected harmlessly into space. "Impossible," the Lumini voice chimed, genuine surprise evident in its tone. "Your kind lacks the fundamental understanding required for such technology." The entities shifted their formation, their internal lights pulsing more rapidly. "We understand more than you think," Yuki responded. "We also understand the value of life, something you failed to demonstrate at Theta-9. The fleet began moving into its combat formation, 600,000 ships creating a web of overlapping fields of fire. The Lumini attempted another energy discharge, this time focusing the power of multiple entities. The targeted ship shields not only absorbed the attack but channeled the energy through its systems, using the Lumini's own power to strengthen its defenses. "Your species was deemed insignificant," the Lumini leader transmitted, its tone shifting from dismissive to uncertain. "Our observations showed no signs of such capability." The crystalline beings began repositioning themselves, perhaps finally recognizing the threat they faced. Admiral Tanaka stood from her command chair, her voice firm as she addressed the entities. "Then you observed poorly. Humanity's strength lies not in our individual capabilities, but in our ability to unite and adapt. You killed 15,000 of our people to make a point. Now we're here to make one of our own." The fleet's movement continued with precision, each ship knowing its exact role in the coming engagement. The Lumini found themselves facing not just superior numbers, but a force that had specifically prepared to counter their every advantage. "Your response is disproportionate," the Lumini transmitted, their formation becoming more defensive. "This level of mobilization exceeds any rational calculation." For the first time, Uncertainty crept into their crystalline harmonics. Yuki's response was measured, carried the weight of humanity's determination. You believed us incapable of understanding the forces you wielded. You thought us too primitive to deserve consideration. That was your first mistake. Your second was assuming our response would follow your calculations of rationality. The stellar nursery's gases swirled around both fleets as humanity prepared to demonstrate exactly how far they had come. The Lumini would soon learn that dismissing humanity as insignificant had been the greatest miscalculation in their long history. Captain Maria Rodriguez commanded her squadron from the bridge of the Star Dancer, watching as the carefully choreographed battle plan unfolded. Her ships moved with perfect precision, their formation resembling a three-dimensional ballet among the stars. Lumini forces attempting to breach Sector 7, her tactical officer reported. The crystalline beings had recovered from their initial surprise and now moved with renewed purpose, their geometric forms pulsing with building energy. Maria smiled slightly. Right where we want them. Execute pattern Firefly. Her squadron split into precise formations, their movements herding the Lumini exactly where Admiral Tanaka's strategy required. Each human ship acted as part of a greater whole, their coordinated actions forming an intricate dance of position and counterposition. The Lumini released another energy burst, more powerful than before. This time, instead of simply absorbing the attack, the human ships used their quantum shields to reflect the energy between them, creating a dazzling web of redirected power that confused the entity's sensors. Squadron Delta reports ready, Lieutenant Sarah Chen announced from her communication station. The net is almost complete. Across the battlefield, other squadrons mirrored Maria's movements, each group playing its part in the complex strategy. The Lumini's attempts to coordinate grew more frantic as they realized their position. Every escape route led them exactly where humanity wanted them to go. Their superior technology meant little against an enemy that had studied their every move and prepared accordingly. They're trying to concentrate their forces, Maria observed, watching the tactical display. Tighten the formation. Don't give them room to gather. Her ships responded instantly, their movements precise and purposeful. The quantum droids hummed as they executed maneuvers that would have been impossible just months ago. Admiral Tanaka's voice came through the command channel. Operation Firefly entering final phase. All squadrons confirm positions. The responses came quickly as each group reported ready. The trap was almost complete. Maria watched as her squadron executed a perfect spiral maneuver, their ships moving in harmony with the other groups. The Lumini found themselves being subtly pushed toward the center of an enormous sphere of human vessels, each layer of ships adding to the containment field. Energy spike detected. Her sensor officer called out. The Lumini had realized their predicament and were gathering power for a massive burst. Their crystalline forms blazed with internal light, preparing to release enough energy to rival a small star. Maintain formation, Maria ordered calmly. Activate quantum resonance fields. The new technology, derived from studying the Theta 9 data, allowed human ships to create a synchronized energy field that could contain and redirect even the most powerful attacks. The Lumini released their gathered power in a brilliant explosion of force. The energy struck the quantum shields and began cycling through the carefully positioned ships, each vessel adding to the containment effect. Instead of breaking free, the entities found their own power being used to complete their imprisonment. Containment field at 100%, Lieutenant Chen reported. All squadrons reporting successful energy integration. The sphere of human ships now held the Lumini in what amounted to a quantum bottle, their own energy helping to maintain their captivity. Maria allowed herself a moment of satisfaction as she watched the completion of humanity's greatest tactical achievement. The Lumini, who had dismissed humans as primitive, found themselves trapped by the very forces they had thought humans too simple to understand. All squadrons, hold positions, Admiral Tanaka's voice carried across the fleet. The dance is complete. 600,000 ships maintained their perfect formation, creating a cage of technology and tactics that even the mighty Lumini couldn't breach. Captain Rodriguez looked at the trapped entities, their crystalline forms still beautiful despite their predicament. Humanity had proved itself not just technologically capable, but tactically superior. The battle demonstrated that humans could face the greatest powers in the galaxy and emerge victorious through coordination, planning, and the ability to turn an enemy's strength against them. The silence that followed victory felt heavier than the battle itself. Admiral Yuki Tanaka stood on Unity's Dawn's bridge, watching the trapped Lumini pulse with subdued light within their quantum prison. The entity's once proud geometric forms now shifted restlessly, their movements betraying their first experience with vulnerability. They're requesting communication. Communications Officer Chen reported, his instruments detecting subtle changes in the crystalline being's energy patterns. The translation matrix converted their light pulses into comprehensible sound, carrying a tone very different from their earlier arrogance. Yuki considered the moment carefully. Revenge would be simple. The fleet had enough firepower to reduce the Luminide to cosmic dust. The memories of Theta 9's destruction still burned fresh in humanity's collective consciousness. Yet she remembered the words of young diplomat Thomas Chen during the fleet's preparation. Our response will define us more than their actions. Open a channel, she ordered, her voice steady. The bridge crew exchanged glances, wondering what their admiral would say to beings that had dismissed humanity as temporary and insignificant. The fate of two species hung in the balance. The Lumini leader's voice resonated through the command center, its crystalline harmonics carrying a new undertone of respect. Your species has demonstrated unexpected capabilities. We acknowledge our error in judgment. The admission seemed to cause visible distortion in their geometric patterns. You believed power alone determined worth, Yuki responded, her words measured. Humanity's strength lies not in our individual capabilities, but in our ability to learn, adapt, and work together. Even now, we choose to demonstrate another kind of power, the power of choice. Thomas Chen stepped forward, his diplomatic training evident in his careful movements. The young man had studied everything known about the Lumini since the Theta 9 incident, preparing for this very moment. We offer an opportunity for understanding, he announced, his voice clear and confident. The Lumini's light patterns shifted rapidly, displaying what the translation matrix identified as confusion. You possess the power to destroy us, yet you speak of understanding. This defies computational logic. Their geometric forms twisted, expressing concepts their light language couldn't convey. Logic alone does not guide us, Thomas explained, activating a holographic display showing Earth's history. We have learned through our own struggles that strength without wisdom leads to destruction. You took 15,000 lives to make a point about power. We mobilized 600,000 ships to make a point about unity. Admiral Tanaka nodded in agreement. Your technology is remarkable, but you failed to observe our most important quality, our capacity for growth. Every challenge humanity has faced has made us stronger, not through power alone, but through understanding. The Lumini remained silent for several moments, their internal lights processing this new perspective. When they responded, their harmonic patterns carried genuine curiosity. Your species achieves strength through apparent contradiction. You build weapons yet speak of peace. You demonstrate power yet offer mercy. That complexity is what you fail to see in us, Thomas replied, his expression earnest. We invite you to learn about us, as we wish to learn about you. The galaxy is vast enough for both our kinds, but only if we understand each other. The quantum containment field hummed softly as the Lumini considered the offer. Their geometric patterns slowly shifted to configurations never seen before, expressing new concepts that their encounter with humanity had forced them to consider. We accept this opportunity, the Lumini leader finally announced. Our existence has been one of certainty and power. You have shown us there are other paths to understanding the cosmos. Their admission marked a fundamental shift in their species' perspective. Admiral Tanaka gave the order to begin reducing the containment field's power. Remember this moment. She addressed both her crew and the Lumini. It marks not just the end of a conflict, but the beginning of a journey. We chose to answer force with force when necessary, but we choose now to answer understanding with understanding. The Theta 9 memorial stretched toward the stars, its crystalline spires merging human and Lumini architecture in a stunning tribute to those lost and the peace that followed. 5 years after the confrontation in the Orion Arm, representatives from both species gathered beneath its towering form to commemorate the signing of the Earth-Lumini Accord. Maya Chen, daughter of diplomat Thomas Chen, stood before the assembled delegation. At 25, she had become the first human to fully master the Lumini's light-based language. Her body glowed with carefully controlled bioluminescent patterns, a modification that allowed her to communicate directly with their former adversaries. The memorial reminds us of endings and beginnings, she announced, her words accompanied by subtle pulses of light that the Lumini could understand. We remember the 15,000 who perished on Theta 9, but we also celebrate the unprecedented cooperation their sacrifice inspired. The gathered fleet, now transformed into an exploration force, created a breathtaking backdrop. Human ships flew in perfect formation, with Lumini crystalline vessels, their combined technologies pushing the boundaries of what either species thought possible. The 600,000 warships had become bridges between civilizations. Joint Serving Mission 7 has discovered another ancient gate. Admiral Sarah Rodriguez, formerly Captain Maria Rodriguez, reported to the assembly. The massive structures, predating both human and Lumini civilization, had been found scattered across the galaxy, promising adventures and discoveries beyond imagination. The Lumini Chief Coordinator, a complex geometric form named Dawn's Reflection in human terms, approached the podium. Its crystalline surface rippled with patterns that Maya translated for the human audience. Our certainty once blinded us to the rich complexity of emerging species. Through humanity, we learned that true power lies in diversity of thought and approach. The combined fleet's achievements over the past 5 years scrolled across massive holographic displays. Joint human-Lumini crews had charted unknown regions of space, developed revolutionary technologies, and established contact with dozens of new species. Their partnership had transformed both civilizations. The Quantum Synchronization Network is now operational across 40% of known space, Dr. James Cumullo announced from his position near the memorial space. The system, combining human innovation with Lumini energy manipulation, allowed near-instantaneous communication across vast distances. Maya watched as her father, Thomas Chen, now Earth's senior diplomatic coordinator, exchanged formal recognition patterns with the Lumini delegation. Their species had moved beyond mere cooperation to genuine friendship, each learning to appreciate the other's unique perspectives and strengths. Today we announced the establishment of the first joint academy. Maya continued. Her announcement met with excited murmurs from both species. Here, humans and Lumini will study together, sharing knowledge and cultural understanding. The facility will be built around the restored remains of Theta 9, turning a place of tragedy into one of learning. The memorial's crystal spires caught the sunlight, sending rainbow refractions across the assembled crowd. Each beam seemed to represent the countless possibilities that had emerged from humanity's greatest challenge. The very forces that had once threatened human existence now powered a new age of exploration and discovery. Let this memorial stand as a reminder, Maya concluded, her words and light patterns expressing complex emotions that both species could now understand. Not of humanity's military might, though we proved our strength. Not of the Lumini's power, though they showed us the forces that shape our universe. Let it stand as a testament to the power of choice. The choice to answer fear with courage, force with unity, and victory with wisdom. The combined fleet above began its ceremonial passage, human and Lumini ships moving in an intricate dance that celebrated their partnership. As the vessels passed through the upper atmosphere, their energy trails painted the sky in brilliant colors, a display of art that neither species could have created alone. The galaxy had challenged humanity's right to exist among the stars. Humanity had responded not just with force, but with the wisdom to turn enemies into allies, transforming a moment of potential destruction into an era of unprecedented cooperation and discovery. As the ceremony concluded, the memorial's lights pulsed in harmony with the setting sun, promising that tomorrow would bring even greater wonders for both civilizations to explore together.